This is Eagle Owl, and today I will be talking about CJ Garner Johnson. Yes, he wants smoke with Malik Nabers and even dissed him. Also, we got to talk about the unofficial depth chart and Ojomo. We're going to talk about the camp, but he's been a standout and even getting first team reps. But let's get straight into it. All right, man. So let's hop straight into it. Let's hop straight into the meat and potatoes, man. No sides. So we got to talk about CJ Garner Johnson. CJ Garner Johnson, he's seen what we seen. Malik Nabers get into a fight with Kirby Joseph with the Lions. And we know CJ Garner Johnson last season was with the Lions, probably made some friends there. And this is the stuff that he tweeted. He was like, how dude just get beat up with the injured emoji? Crazy, 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 crazy. And then Kirby put hands on dude. Ain't no drive-by. That's a fact. I think, in my personal opinion, Malik Nabers lost this fight. But that's my opinion. And then CJ put curb. You know how CJ Garner Johnson is. He just had to tweet after tweet after tweet. He probably could have put this all in one tweet, but it probably got Malik Nabers mad. So Malik Nabers tweeted out when CJ Garner Johnson was with the Saints. Remember, he got into a fight with some dude on the Bears, and he just ran up on CJ Garner Johnson because he was talking so much junk. And Malik Nabers like, do you really want to do this or something like that? So CJ know how to get on people's nerves. He know how to get under people's skin. And we played the Giants twice. It's going to be interesting watching these dudes match up with each other and how can he get under Malik Nabers' skin. In my opinion, Malik Nabers might have one of his worst games. One, he's a rookie. Two, it is already getting to him mentally. CJ Garner Johnson ain't say nothing to dude. Like, he ain't reply to dude. He just let him rock out. Now you got Malik Nabers in his feelings before he even played the Philadelphia Eagles. So salute to CJ Garner Johnson. And before I shot this video as well, just before I shot it, I seen the unofficial depth chart that the Eagles put out. And it was interesting. I'm going to go over it, who they had listed and how they had it listed. But yeah, let's go over the unofficial depth chart. All right, so wide receiver they put first, A.J. Brown. Right behind A.J. Brown, you got Johnny Wilson. Behind Johnny Wilson, you got Joseph Nagata. That makes sense. Even though Johnny Wilson been more the number 3 guy, but I can see why they have it listed like that. And again, this is unofficial. Then left tackle, of course, Jordan Mailata. Left guard, of course, Landon Dickerson. Cam Jurgens is the starting center. They got Matt Hennessy behind them, and then they got the rookie behind Matt Hennessy. The rookie that was drafted like our last pick, he's on the roster bubble. He should have been ahead of Matt Hennessy, but we ain't gonna get into that. Then they still got Tyler Steen starting that right guard. Then they got behind him Mekhi Becton. So it's gonna be interesting how that works out. I'm surprised they ain't had a slash thing. As you see at the bottom, you see how they got the linebackers and how they got Isaiah Rodgers and Kelee Ringo slash. That means somewhat battling for the position. I'm surprised they didn't do that for right guard, but we'll see how that go. And then right tackle, of course, Lane Johnson. Tight end, Dallas Goedert, of course. Right behind Dallas Goedert, Grant Calcaterra. But the third tight end, they got CJ Uzomah, who I believe actually EJ Jenkins been playing the best. But we'll see. We'll definitely see about that. See how that go. Basically, wide receiver 2, they got Devontae Smith. Right there, John Ross behind Devontae Smith. Then they had Jacob Harris behind Devontae Smith. Behind John Ross. Right? So basically, wide receiver 3, they still got Paris Campbell. But next to him, they got Britton Covey. And behind him, they have Ainias Smith. It sucks for Ainias Smith. He should have been battling for that wide receiver 3 spot. Which Ainias Smith had one of his best camp days today. Not going to lie. But it was more short yardage. And when he got the ball in his hands, he was dynamic. But he got to catch the ball. And I was reading reports about Ainias Smith like, yo, he should really consider changing to a running back. But we'll see. We'll see what he do. Of course, QB1, Jalen Hurts. Behind him, Pickett. Then 3, they got Tanner McKee. I just skipped over the running back. So they got Saquon Barkley, then Kenneth Gainwell, and Will Shipley. But right at the bottom, that's why I said if it's 4, if we happen to keep 4, that's why I believe really it might be Lou Nichols. But they got Lou Nichols at number 4. Davis Price at number 5, and Kendall Milton at number 6. But Lou Nichols will be our best bruiser if we wanted to keep a bruiser, or if these dudes are just competing for a practice squad battle, I wouldn't be surprised if we go with Lou Nichols over the other guys. All right, so defense, let's get to the defensive side of the ball. They got Bryce Huff, of course, at the edge. I wonder if we're running. Ooh, this is interesting. I wonder if we're running a 5-2, because they have Bryce Huff, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Milton Williams, and Josh Sweat as the starters. That is really interesting. But then the guy they got behind Josh Sweat, or who's labeled in that number 1, column, surprisingly, a lot of people believe this is surprisingly Patrick Johnson. But already Nick Sirianni said Patrick Johnson is having a good camp. I don't really see tweets about him, but I mean, I'm hearing he had one of his best camps. So they got right now Josh Sweat, Nolan Smith, Jalyx Hunt, and then Patrick Johnson. That's crazy. As far as on that, I would say right side, and then on the left side, they got Bryce Huff, Brandon Graham, and Tyron Jackson. But Patrick Johnson being in that mix is really, really interesting. Talking about a late round pick a couple years ago, who just always sticks around on the roster. So shout out to Patrick Johnson. So linebackers, they have it slashed off because technically it's position battles. They got Devin White, Nakobe Dean in that mix, and then next to Zack Baun, they got Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is interesting because I always say that I think the real battle should have been between him and Zack Baun, because Trotter Jr. is having a good camp, but Trotter Jr. is a rookie, then a 5th round pick, so it's going to be really hard for him to beat him out. But Trotter Jr. does have an opportunity to show what he got during preseason. Still got more training camp and stuff to go, but Trotter Jr. is having a strong camp for a rookie. So he's going to develop, I believe, and going to be really good. But only time will tell. All right, so corner, they have Isaiah Rodgers and Kelee Ringo slashed off. They battling for a spot, but I could say this is the 6th straight day Isaiah Rodgers started. So I'm almost assuming, almost 90% sure it's Isaiah Rodgers' spot, but anything can happen during preseason or anything like that. So they still got them two battling, and then Slay, we know he's starting. They still got Avonte Maddox as the starting nickel. That's interesting because they got Quinyon Mitchell behind Darius Slay, but we all know, especially if you've been keeping up with me, Quinyon Mitchell been in the slot. Of course, CJ Gardner Johnson starting. Of course, Reed Blankenship. We're going to talk about CJ Gardner Johnson injury too. One reporter saying it's long term. Then most reporters saying it's not. He had an MRI on his shoulder. All right, but let's go over the camp notes. Right, we always got to start injury report. We got over in Burt's knee. Yeah, it's time to say he's gonna possibly get cut due to that. Mekhi Gardner still dealing with the hamstring. We got Paris Campbell groin. CJ Gardner Johnson shoulder, who I'm really, really scared about. Hearing it's not long term. Hearing it's long term. I don't know. We'll see when CJGJ speak out, or what comes back from the MRI. You got Brandon Smith, concussion, did not practice. Tyler Steen, ankle. Cam Jurgens, illness. And Austin Watkins, illness, but were limited. All right, Avonte Maddox was the starting safety, so he was the next guy up behind CJ Gardner Johnson, not James Bradbury this time. Zack Baun and Devin White, again, started. Safe to say it's going to be Zack Baun and Devin White as the starters. Mekhi Becton got the first call at right guard. Jalen Carter making plays, got behind the backfield, swatted a pass that Jalen Hurts tried to throw. So shout out to Jalen Carter, still doing this thing. Tyler Steen was on the second team as right guard. So it looked like Mekhi Becton is winning the battle so far. I want to see them two swap out during the preseason game, but Tyler Steen got the second team nod and Mekhi Becton got the first team nod. Milton Williams and Thomas Booker both got sacks on Kenny Pickett. Never heard of Thomas Booker, but he's on our team. and he's making plays. Of course, Milton Williams been standing out during camp, definitely making plays. Shout out to Milton Williams. Ainias Smith had one of his best camps, as I stated. He had a short yardage catch, and man, he got a lot of yards after the catch. But the thing is, with Ainias Smith, he still got the butterfingers. Let's see if we can fix that. But Ainias Smith definitely had one of his better practices today. Kelee Ringo had a great PBU against Joseph Nagata. It was in Joseph Nagata's hands, and Kelee Ringo ripped it out. So Kelee Ringo, even though he's on the second team right now, he's still making plays and still trying to battle for that spot. John Ross, let's prayers up for him, man. He was carted off the field. I haven't heard anything just yet, but John Ross was carted off the field. Shon Stephens, back-to-back practices where he had an interception. Had an interception against Tanner McKee twice. One yesterday, one today. He is definitely, Shon Stephens is definitely making a strong case on why he should make this team. Turnovers are hard to get, and that's one way to stand out for sure. If he's getting turnovers, yeah, more than likely he can make this team, because that's how Eli Ricks made it. If you really think about it, Eli Ricks made the team last year because the things he was doing. I believe we played Baltimore in the preseason, and he was just making plays, catching pitch, deflections. Eli Ricks was everywhere. And I think Shon Stephens is going to do the same thing. Even Shon Stephens did not get the pick, but he was a part of a pick. He deflected a pass, and Andre Sam was a guy I really liked. He was right there to catch the pick, but Shon Stephens made the initial play. So Shon Stephens continues to make plays. Don't be surprised if we start seeing him in second team. Maybe he get a snap or two with the first team. If he start moving his way up like that, I can say he probably can make this roster, or he's definitely going to be on the practice squad. So shout out to Shon Stephens. Hurts today, he almost broke the Elliott Shore Parts training camp stats record to me, which doesn't mean anything. With the most attempts with no interceptions. I don't like the keeping up with stats here with training camp, because it is training camp, but I'll be lying to you if I say it wasn't impressive. 156 passes with no picks. That's crazy. That means he's making really good decisions. But is he still being aggressive? Let's hear what Kellen Moore said if Jalen Hurts is still being aggressive.
Excellent preparation by Jalen. He's doing a great job with the football. He's still aggressive. He's still trying to get the ball downfield. He's trying to make plays. He's just making really good decisions, and he's doing a nice job. And really, the whole group as a unit. I think we've only had a couple, two maybe so far in camp. These guys are making really good decisions while still playing aggressive. They're not passive. They're not just taking checkdowns. They're getting the ball downfield.
So absolutely, he's still being aggressive. He's still throwing the ball down the field. He's still making plays. It's not like he on some, let me dump it off here and there. Nah, he just being really smart with the ball, because what was Jalen Hurts' problem last year? Anytime we talk about him being in the top 10, well, he did up them turnovers. It looked like he really worked on being smarter with the ball. So we'll see how this translates during the regular season. Devontae Smith still making plays. He beat Isaiah Rodgers on a double move, and Devontae Smith got open. So shout out to Devontae Smith making plays, and Isaiah Rodgers, man. The guy is hard to stick, man. I'm just saying, the guy is hard to stick. Pause. Quinyon Mitchell got some second team reps, and he was guarding Ainias Smith, locked Ainias Smith up, and he picked off Kenny Pickett. So Quinyon Mitchell is getting picks. He picked off Kenny Pickett, but not Jalen Hurts. And Maro Ojomo, yes, Maro Ojomo is getting first team reps beside Jalen Carter doing this thing, but he also made a play in the backfield, I believe, against the second team. So Maro Ojomo is starting to get that, nod. Like, he might make this team. So shout out to Maro Ojomo. Marlon T, haven't heard him in a minute, but he made a play. He got a tip ball on Jalen Hurts. So shout out to Marlon T. So our defensive tackles, they making this a battle. So this Maro Ojomo versus Marlon T thing, if we don't keep both, it's an interesting battle. Fangio got a little fancy with the blitzing. So he sent Quinyon Mitchell on the blitz, and he actually got a sack. Quinyon Mitchell got a pick in the sack today. So shout out to Quinyon Mitchell making plays against Hurts, getting sacks, getting picks, doing everything he can to be on this field, to show why he's a starter and to show why he was a top pick. So man, that was pretty smart. Sent Quinyon, one of your best pass defenders on the blitz. Probably the offense, I'm sorry, didn't see it coming, but shout out to Quinyon Mitchell. Jalyx Hunt almost got a sack. I believe he was with the second team, and he was almost there. So getting pressures is really good for Jalyx Hunt. He beat Matt Sharpen. I believe that's the backup center. So shout out to Jalyx Hunt, man, making plays. Johnny Wilson, John Ross, and Britton Covey had an equal amount at that wide receiver 3 spot on the first team. But I think Johnny Wilson is probably ahead. Second, Britton Covey is really close. And I think a distance third is John Ross right now, especially with Paris Campbell being out. And again, like I mentioned earlier, John Ross was carted off. So I think it's a 2-man battle right now while Paris Campbell is out. But man, Johnny Wilson is making a case, and Britton Covey. And Britton Covey is versatile. So I think he's going to make the roster because he can be a special teamer. The Eagles got fancy on special teams as well. I haven't talked about special teams. We did like a fake field goal, and Brenton Mann threw a touchdown. So it's going to be something to watch and see if we get a little fancy on special teams, catch some teams by surprise. Since we can't really do offside kicks and stuff, let's do some tricks with, field goals and stuff like that. Let's spice it up from time to time, man. The new guy, Shaq Quarterman, he got a sack, beat Will Shipley. Will Shipley, man, you got to get better in pass protection. You got N'Kobe Dean, Shaq Quarterman just beating you for sacks, man. You got to get better at pass protection. But yeah, Shipley was beat and allowed the sack. That's nothing new with Shipley. He allows sacks. But it's good to see Quarterman, getting reps with the team and making plays and standing out. So he might have a legit shot of making this roster, especially with a thin linebacker group. Saquon Barkley takes one to the house, but the standout on this one, taking one to the house, Saquon Barkley, was Mekhi Becton. Mekhi Becton continues to show he's an elite pass blocker and a run blocker as well. So the standout guy for the lead block was Mekhi Becton. And that's why Mekhi Becton so far is winning that battle. Zack Baun makes a smart play. So we tried some indirection run. I think it was a handoff to Devontae Smith, but Zack Baun read it all the way and got there. So that's really smart by Zack Baun, seeing what's going on, because if Zack Baun didn't get there, long run. It's going to be a long run for a first down, possibly even a touchdown. But Zack Baun was all over it. Also, Devin White, I know some people mentioned in my comments, like, yo, what's going on with Devin White? I couldn't, have any notes on Devin White. So I was looking up some notes for Devin White, but Devin White was really good in coverage today. Like, he stuck Joseph Nagata, I believe, one-on-one or something like that, and stuck with him the whole time. He stuck with the receiver the whole time. So that's really good with Devin White. So Devin White been making his presence felt as far as covering. Like, they haven't really been blitzing him or anything like that, but Devin White's been looking good. But that's all I got for you guys today as far as camp notes. I know this video is a little longer than expected. I had to go over that depth chart, especially when I seen it. But maybe I'll go into it more maybe another day, or just go over little stuff that I seen. I don't think we had practice Thursday, the day before the game. So yeah, I'll go over this more. Maybe I'll go into depth, or maybe today's video was enough of the unofficial depth chart. CJ Gardner Johnson, him dissing Malik Nabers. I personally love it. I love it a lot. Hurts, man. Hurts continues to show he's a top tier quarterback in this league. And again, that's all I got for you guys today. But hey, man, what do you think, and how do you feel about the news today? everything I explained, the camp notes, CJ Gardner Johnson doing his thing, getting in NFC East rivals' heads. You know, Ojomo, how do we feel about him? But this is Eagle Owl, man. I'm a